Today, we're diving deep into what would happen if every planet had Saturn-like rings and the real science behind it. Before we start throwing rings on every planet, let's talk about how they exist in the first place. Saturn's rings are made of billions of ice and rock chunks, some as tiny as a grain of sand, others the size of mountains. Scientists believe they formed when a moon or comet got too close and broke apart, thanks to Saturn's massive gravity. But here's a wild fact. Saturn's rings won't last forever. They're slowly falling into the planet. So we're lucky to be living in a time when they still exist. If every planet had rings, they wouldn't be permanent either. All right, let's start with home. If Earth had Saturn-like rings, the sky would look completely different. Instead of a dark night, we'd have glowing arcs across the sky, even visible during the day. Rings would block sunlight in certain areas, which could mean colder winters and unpredictable seasons. Some places might never see direct sunlight, while others could experience extreme droughts. Think about it. Earth's entire climate system is built around how the sun hits different parts of the planet. If you start blocking sunlight in random places, things could get chaotic. Oh, absolutely. Our satellites, space stations, and rockets would constantly have to dodge ring debris. A single mistake? Boom! Instant disaster. Also, if the rings were made of ice, what happens if a giant chunk gets knocked out of orbit? That's a deadly space rock falling straight toward Earth. Not ideal. Now, what about our red neighbor? If Mars had rings, would it still be the dry, dusty planet we know today? Mars already has a thin atmosphere, which doesn't trap heat well. Rings could make that even worse by casting shadows and cooling parts of the planet. Imagine if Mars had kept its rings for billions of years. Could it have stayed warmer, wetter, and more Earth-like? Fun fact, Mars might have had rings in the past. Scientists believe its largest moon, Phobos, is actually the leftover debris from an ancient ring system. Jupiter is huge, like so huge that if it had rings like Saturn, they wouldn't last long. Why? Jupiter's insane gravity would pull the ring material inward and destroy it. The planet has 92 moons, which would constantly disrupt the rings, breaking them apart. Its powerful magnetic field would send ring particles flying into space. So if Jupiter had rings, they'd probably be thin, unstable, and temporary. Not exactly a beautiful cosmic spectacle. Here's something cool. Neptune and Uranus already have rings. They're just super faint and hard to see from Earth. But what if they had huge Saturn-like rings? For one, they'd probably last way longer than Saturn's. Why? Less sunlight means less radiation breaking them apart. Colder temperatures help keep icy rings stable. Fewer large moons means less disruption. Uranus would be the weirdest of them all. Since it rotates on its side, its rings would be vertical instead of horizontal. Imagine a planet rolling through space with glowing hoops around it. Pretty bizarre. Spoiler alert. Nope, not for long. Mercury is too close to the sun, so any icy rings would just melt and evaporate. Venus? Well, its atmosphere is so thick and chaotic that rings would probably get dragged in and destroyed. Basically, no chance. This might be the craziest part. Earth did have rings at one point. Scientists believe that billions of years ago, a Mars-sized planet smashed into Earth, throwing debris into space. That debris formed a ring, which eventually clumped together to form the moon. So technically, we're already living with the remains of an ancient ring system, just in the form of a giant glowing rock instead of ice and dust. So what's the verdict? If every planet had rings, our night sky would be stunning. Earth's climate could get unstable. Space travel would be way harder. Some planets, like Uranus and Neptune, would keep them for billions of years. Others, like Jupiter and Mercury, would lose them quickly. At the end of the day, rings are rare for a reason. Only certain planets can hold on to them, and even Saturn's rings won't last forever. What do you think? Would you love to see a ring-filled solar system, or do you like Saturn being the king of rings? Let's chat in the comments. And if you want more crazy space facts, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of the universe.